Welcome back. During the past few years, many insurance companies have been initiated, have been started, they have fallen, and a lot of people have lost money. The question is why anybody want to insure, except for the fact that there's a law. One of these companies, INVESCO, did collapse. It was put under receivership, and it is now back in business. We have the honor, privilege of having the man in charge of that company, Geoffrey Njenga, to tell us the story of INVESCO and also why we should insure. Welcome, Njenga.
Thank you very much, Bwana Mutegi. It's good to be here with you.
I don't know. Is it deliberate? Why is it that banks used to be set up, particularly African banks, then they collapsed, and then they set up in the central bank ways of ensuring that banks don't collapse? Why is it that insurance companies do collapse?
Well, that's a good question, but a little clarification, Bwana Mutegi. INVESCO was actually never put under receivership.
What happened to it?
INVESCO was put under statutory management in 2008, precisely at the end of February in 2008, and I was the statutory manager. But you've asked the question, how come?
Why was it put under statutory management?
I will tell you that in a moment. The only thing I would want to make a little clearer is that and you have rightly said it, the story of INVESCO is not peculiar to INVESCO. It's drama and comedy in the insurance industry in this country, which has been replayed many times over. In fact, in the last 10 years or so, about 7 insurance companies have been in different stages of death. Either they are under statutory management or under liquidation, beginning way back with Access. And it's been one story after the other, after the other. And the question you've asked is, then why? Why should so many companies, why such a heavy mortality rate? And the issue really is simple. It is mismanagement and theft.
We have the Insurance Regulatory Authority. We have a government body that is supposed to stop that.
Yes, but I think we should remember that an insurance company is a private company with its management, with its board, directors, shareholders, management, and by and large, you know, when you have a private company, you can do by and large what you want to do with it. Of course, it doesn't happen that openly. There are very many ways of skinning a cat, so they say. And there are very many different ways of siphoning money out of the company. So it is not really by chance that these companies have come and gone. They've been destroyed by a well-orchestrated cartel of the owners, the lawyers, the managers. The line is very long.
Are we likely to see another insurance company collapse? Is it likely? Or are there set up, or the government set up systems to make sure that it does not happen?
Well, yes, indeed, we have. I cannot say for sure that we are likely to see another company fail. And that role is played by the IRA, Insurance Regulatory Authority, whose job is to ensure that they don't collapse, but unfortunately they have collapsed. So I don't know exactly what information they have right now, but if the past is anything to go by, one can never be too sure that you will not have failure in the insurance industry.
A lot of people think it's because of insuring motor vehicles that these companies fail, because they take premium from matatus, buses,
right,
or transport companies.
Yeah.
And then they insure them, and when it comes to, when their accidents start people start making claims, then they fold up and go. Is that so?
It's a serious misconception. I personally don't believe that the PSV sector, the public service insurance sector, risk is higher than any other. I don't believe that. And that's borne by facts. I think the real issue, that sector has a lot of money.
Yes.
Newspaper writings indicate that that sector is worth about 150 billion right now. So there's a lot of money. And the issue is not that the risk of insuring a matatu is higher than any other. I think the risk, the problem is what I've already alluded to, that it is in different phases. I think that those companies or those investors who came in that sector to pick quick money and leave, and they come, they pick the premium, and when the time is ripe, which is about the 4th year or the 5th year of the existence of that company, they fold tent, they leave town, and they leave very heavy loaded. They have money because they have picked money, and the claims, those injury claims, take time before they mature. And just about the 5th year, the 4th year, when the claims have done their round in the legal system, they pick the money and they go. I think that's one group.
Why can't they be punished?
Well, before we say that, let me tell you about the other groups that get into that system. It is the managers of that company, of those companies. If the owners are stealing, chances are that the managers will be stealing. If the top management is stealing, the lower management will be stealing. And then, of course, you have the cartels in the legal system. You have lawyers whose only profession is to make money, and they make money by stealing from the insurance sector. So you have that, and they create claims. I'm sure you've seen some write-up in the newspapers recently how they create claims. A vehicle has an accident with 2 people, they're able to create 10 more. And an accident which had only 2 people, you end up paying about 15 people. Huge, huge amounts of money. That system, that process is so costly. So the death of an insurance company did not result from the 2 who are injured in that accident, but you have another 15 or so who are created by the system, by the lawyers, by the police at the police station, the judiciary as the claim does its round in the legal system. And at the end of the day, when the claim probably was about $1 million, you end up paying 10 million. No company can survive that kind of hemorrhage. And that really is a problem. The question you ask is, why should they not be punished? And I would ask the same question, Wanamotegi. Why would they not be punished? And I think the key word that has become very popular in this country is impunity. We've allowed it to happen. I think at some point someone will wake up one day and say, yes, indeed, these people ought to pay for their sins. I would do it, given a chance.
Why did the government or whoever put INVESCO into statutory management?
INVESCO, like I said, the story is not very different from any other PSV underwriter that has been put under statutory management or liquidation. A company is essentially put under statutory management if it cannot meet its obligation to the insuring public. You've insured, you expect to be paid if something happened, and if the insurance company or a bank cannot meet its obligation to the public, it ought to be either put under statutory management on the way to receivership and liquidation. And in 2008, actually it began in 2006, the regulator was very concerned about INVESCO. You may not know these, but around 2006, INVESCO was the largest PSV underwriter. The company was doing about $1 billion worth of business in 2006. But at the same time, the regulator was very concerned about the ability of that company to meet its obligations to the public. And he brought in a caretaker board to try and find out what could possibly be done about that company. And between 2006 and 2007, the company went through a very troubled time. And in 2008, it became obvious to the regulator that indeed this company could not possibly continue. On the 28th of February 2008, I moved in as a statutory manager. So simply because its liabilities were much larger than the assets, and the company was not able to keep its promises to the public, and therefore it was put under statutory management.
Why didn't it collapse like the others? I mean, the normal way would have been statutory management, receivership, and liquidation.
Well, if you talk about collapse, in actual fact, the company collapsed.
Yes.
And that is because it
couldn't pay.
It couldn't pay. And the statutory management thing is simply to protect the little assets remaining in the company. And the statutory management is brought in by the government to make only one simple statement. Can the company continue as a going concern, or should it be liquidated? At that point, you can use whatever language you want, but the company is practically dead. You see, insurance company like banks is about public confidence. And if you have no public confidence, and that, then, you know, the thing is dead, practically speaking. But you're asking, so why would the government want to take some time before it declares the company closed? Because the government has a responsibility to the insuring public. You cannot just wake up one morning and tell everybody, guys, your company is closed. I think the government has that responsibility, and it wants to exercise prudence. That's why they will come in a little gentler and get someone else to give a professional opinion. Should we close this thing? Do you see any chance of reopening it? Now, in the Kenyan economy, it's almost a truism, which I think to me is absolutely unfortunate, that if a company is put under statutory management, it's dead. And basically, whoever comes in as a statutory manager, or you want to call them receiver, simply come as undertaker to put the thing 6 feet under. I think it's very unfortunate. And the only reason why this company was not put under, why it wasn't declared dead, was I decided that perhaps that's not the way to go. I was willing to think whether possibly there was something that could be done. I mean, I received so many phone calls from Kenyans across the country asking me, what can I do? I have auctioneers at the door. I have this problem. I am chased all over the place by auctioneers. There's a man who came from Nyeri carrying everything he owned in a paper bag. He couldn't quite live in there because auctioneers were hunting him down. They had sold everything he had. And he came by the offices there to ask, what do I do? They are chasing me. And looking at that humanity and the pain that people are going through, I began to think, probably.
What kind of people are these? The ones who are...
The insured, the people who had claims,
yes.
The people who are insured.
Yeah.
If you are unfortunate enough to have insured with this company, and a claim or claims came up as a result of an accident involving your vehicle, you know, if a company is under statutory management, if a company dies, all those claims become the responsibility of the insured.
Yeah.
It is your personal responsibility.